Yo. This is Disrupted Thought. I'm Rashad Harvey. He's Aaron Thompson.
I am.
We're here to talk to you about what's going on in the world, entertainment, politics, religion. We're here to talk about it all. What's good, man?
Hey, man, we need to get on with the show. Because I clearly got an expiration date right now on my patience and tolerance with you right now. So before I'm not going to respond like the Lord would have me respond, we need to get at it.
Oh, but you could change that. The Lord, he's real.
So you going to keep going?
Cedric, go ahead and bring us on in.
No, this ain't nothing but healthy conversation. That's all.
Good people, we are back at it again.
Guys, back at it again.
You're listening to the voices of Aaron Thompson and Rashad Harvey. Disrupted Thought is on the air. Tuesday, we dropping a hot fire episode. This week, our lives didn't get in the way. Check us out on pre-production at 8 p.m. Eastern on Instagram Live. Follow myself at AaronVic810. Follow Rashad at Rashad Harvey. And follow the pod at Disrupted Thought. For those who don't know, we actually do visuals now. So you can check us out on YouTube, channel Disrupted Thought. So check us out. Let us know. Clearly, it's just going to be Capri's corner right now because we ain't getting no more people jumping in here. So let's talk about what Capri had to say. And so Capri says, dope episode, another dope episode, guys. He said, my comment on the NBA top 75 segment. He said, my actual comment is on Joe Dumars being the first 3-and-D player. Joe Dumars was not considered a three-point shooter at all. Capital letters, laugh out loud. He could shoot it, but that was not his specialty. A 3-and-D guy is a player who specializes in three-point shooting and defense. Joe had a crazy mid-range game and driving game. I went and looked it up, and he only had 3 seasons when he averaged more than one three-pointer made baskets. So, Shad, he's actually addressing your point as you tried to pull something out of history that you believe to be true, which it wasn't. So, what says you?
Well, did you bring that up when I was talking about it?
Shad, I told you that he wasn't a 3-and-D guy, and you kept saying, yes, he was. For
that time.
Cool. I'm not gonna argue about that. I'm not gonna argue about that.
For that time, he was considered a 3-and-D.
No, he was not considered 3-and-D.
So
Capri just gave you the stats, and you still want to argue.
Well, back then, the 3 now is probably a hair or two inside the 3-point line now, right? That's what you would say, right? You know, because the league it's gone further and further back. The percentage of shooting in certain spaces. All right, I'm picking at hairs. No, Capri's right. Capri is right. I do not agree you have to be a specialist in either, or you just have to be more than adequate at the level. But regardless, Joe Dumars, great, very good defender. But yeah, when he pulled it up, I'm like, man, he didn't average one until his last. I think I saw like last 5 or 6 years. He didn't average more than one. It's like, yo, okay, maybe I got captured by the moment.
Yeah, it's just your generation. Y'all don't do y'all history. Y'all just like to say, y'all just want to be relevant in the moment, and y'all got to take us in. And I'm like, yo, just do your history. What you're saying doesn't line up to history. Thank you, Capri. Appreciate you for doing the research to shut this foolishness up. And I am a Joe Dumars fan. Joe Dumars personally got me some brownie points with my girlfriend in high school because her mama was in love with him, and I got a chance to get an autograph to take home to my girlfriend's mom. So let me be clear. Joe D is my guy. I got nothing but love for Joe Dumars. But that brother was not a 3-and-D player, and he does not belong on the 75 greatest list. Now, if you talk about top defenders of all time, you can't talk about that without Joe Dumars, because the greatest of all time said he was the only one to give him problems. But that's a different conversation. That's not what we're talking about. So good people, we appreciate you as always. Hey, do us a favor. If you like what you're hearing on the show, hey, rate the pod, turn your notifications on, comment on it, and we look to hear from you here very soon.
Shout out to the Michigan State boys. So me and Aaron, we reside from Michigan. And so I have always been a State fan, even though I went to satellite campus when I went to school and it was a U of M campus. I got my degree from there. All is good. Shout out to the Wolverines. But when it comes to when they play each other, I root for both teams, basketball, football. I'm rooting for both of y'all. But when they play each other, I'm looking for State to pull away with that dub. Aaron, did you get a chance to check the game? What was your thoughts, if so?
Yeah, no, I watched the game. I think both teams are fugazi. I don't think that they're going to do anything from a national perspective. And I told everybody, I said they're both undefeated it's going to make for a very interesting and entertaining game. And it did. I thought the game was very entertaining. I thought there were moments and spaces where, you know, if you're a U of M fan, you were feeling good. If you're a Michigan State fan, you were feeling good. And then at the end, if you were a State fan, you walked off feeling great. I don't think that they're both good enough to make any noise nationally. Because Michigan State's a one-trick pony, and Michigan ain't figured out what the heck they doing. When it's almost like when stuff starts working for Michigan, they say, let's just go away from what works and let's go try to do something else. It's just like, what are we doing? That's in essence how they lost the game. But you know,
do you feel like Jim Harbaugh keeps his? I mean, because didn't he just sign? I want to say he just signed an extension.
He just signed an extension. Yeah, he needs to go.
You think he keeps it? Because you know, especially these big schools, they known for giving someone an extension and then firing them the next year. Do you think Harbaugh stays after this year, especially because I don't know if they played Ohio State yet. If they take an L to Ohio State,
they played them at the end of the season.
If they take an L to Ohio State, do you think he keeps his job?
If he loses to Ohio State, it depends on how they lose. Again, I always go back to who they're going to get. That's part of the problem why Jim Harbaugh still is there, is none of the really good coaches for a program that's U of M are really available. But I do think he needs to go. Let me be clear. I do think he needs to go. He just hasn't been able to win the big games. His teams aren't disciplined down the stretch. We've consistently seen this. When he had his best team that could have beat Ohio State and gotten to the national playoffs, they folded under pressure down the stretch. It's just like his teams are not disciplined when it counts. And I love the way the state coach said it. He's like, we're going to keep hitting them with body blows. He's like, and I believe our kids are tougher than them, and we ain't going to flinch. And they didn't.
And the crazy thing is he said that on wax.
On wax. Our kids are tougher than theirs. I appreciate it. What's his name?
I forget his name, man.
Yeah,
Black guy too.
Shout out to the brother. But yeah, no, he listen. And that kid, Walker the third, he's special.
Running back,
he's special. Again, to me, that's the issue. Michigan State can't pass the ball. So if you play against Alabama, what you think Alabama gonna do? They're gonna put 8, 9 in the box, and they're gonna make that quarterback put it up. They can't pass. So you're gonna get ready to take away their best weapon, because 5 touchdowns for 200 plus yards? Come on, man. If you're playing somebody that's trying to win a national championship, they're not gonna let you do that, bro. They're not gonna let you do it.
One of the big conversations this week has been some of the results people are seeing on the new NBA foul rule, or should I say the lack thereof. So in the last, I'd probably say, decade, give or take a year, the growth of offensive players drawing the foul has grown. And I remember growing up playing basketball, you were taught to draw a foul in a certain kind of position where you're driving through the lane and you got somebody on your hip and all this kind of stuff. But it's definitely morphed into something that, made the game a little bit, it just slowed the game down way too much and it made it less appeasing, not to call too many players out, but for sure, James Harden was one of the biggest known names for how he played and drove fouls. And then obviously his stats showed astronomical numbers that some people thought, this ain't real. If it wasn't for him going to the line 18, 15 times, averaging a game, he wouldn't be up here. So now we're looking fast forward to 2021, and this new rule has been implemented that where the refs are a little bit more stingy when it comes to the foul calls when they see certain players do certain rip throughs and yada, yada, yada. Aaron, when you look at the game and, particularly some of these players who have gotten a slow start, like James Harden, what are your thoughts on the new rule? And do you feel like that's what's really playing a role in their slow start?
So I do think it takes some adjusting. They don't really play hard in the preseason. So when you make a rule change to the level in which they made this rule change, the players have to adjust. Yeah, James Harden was good for that whack rip through and going up and them giving them 3 free throws and going to the free throw line. Even Steph has had to make the adjustment. Like, some of them crazy shots that Steph shoot and he be falling down and they give it to him, they not giving it to him. I think Russ looked at the referee crazy because he was trying to get a foul and the referee was like, no, that's actually an offensive foul. We going the other way. So I do think it is an adjustment for these guys because it's something that they've been getting away with for the longest that actually just really wasn't real basketball. Let's just be kind. And it was smart because they took advantage of the glitch in the rule, but now that they fixed it, come on, let's play some ball and stop playing.
Yeah, but you see somebody like Steph still averaging over 28 points a game as of right now. Something crazy. He's the greatest shooter, as Stephen A. Smith says, ever created. Right. So then when you look at some of these other players, I want to say Damian Lillard was also someone that was thrown into that conversation. Trae Young was someone who was also thrown into that conversation. Do you feel like these three players who arguably right now are, top 50 players right now in this current era or current year, do you think that they will be able to make an adjustment and get back to their superstar status when you talk about stat wise?
Yeah, I mean, they're good basketball players. I mean, some of these players we're talking about, James Harden, he can score. This dude's a bucket, right? So, I mean, did he get to the free throw line quite a bit? Sure. But it wasn't because he was doing that, just wasn't all because of that. James Harden can give you buckets, and don't sleep. You fool around and get put on the poster too. So I think James Harden will make the adjustment. Steph has already made the adjustment. When you talk about the elite players, they will make the adjustment because it goes back to the fundamentals of the game. So I'm not worried about that. And again, we less than 10 games into the season. Relax.
That's the other thing too I would agree with you on is, James Harden, his last 2 years, I want to say, or 3 years, he started the season off slow, out of shape, and they're trying to work him back into shape as the season goes on. So I think James will be all right. So this week there was a big announcement as Facebook did their own little town hall, little virtual town hall where Mark Zuckerberg introduced a new company name. Facebook still has the same name. Instagram, WhatsApp, some of their other subsidiaries still have the same name, but they're now under a new company title called Metaverse, or Meta, if I'm correct. I think that's for short what it's called. He expressed an opportunity in which they are going to try to create essentially a virtual world. Did you see some of the headlines regarding this, AT?
I knew it was coming. I heard that they were working on it. I mean, the metaverse, the stuff that plays in the video games, the Call of Duties and the, Grand Theft Autos and the skins and everything else, that's all part of the metaverse, So, what has Facebook been doing? It's been owning community. And so we know that the video games are a huge community that Facebook is basically saying, hey, we're going to be a part of that. So you just watch them because on their platforms, they're finding other ways to allow for creators to monetize their behavior on their particular platform. So this was just another, to me, a next step in a proper iteration of it.
Yeah, that's the movie. One of the things that's really close is Fortnite, right? Because Fortnite, darn near, you creating a whole world in order to play in, and I don't think they have a campaign mode, essentially. But when I saw this and I saw his video, I'm like, oh, this is Ready Player One. Like, okay, this is Ready Player One. And when you see his videos, it looked like Ready Player One, and the scheme of people being able to come together through this metaverse, through this headset in which you can go into from areas, created areas and things that give you peace. And it's almost essentially just like Ready Player One. If you haven't seen that movie, it's actually a good movie. So go check it out when you can. But man, we're just getting further and further from physical interaction. And honestly, it darn near was a good play when you think about what's been taking place with this last year. Interactions with people has been something that has been cause for pause. It's a guy at my church. He still don't hug people. He gonna go to the church though, but he don't hug. He don't shake hands. He's real. He claims to be very cognizant of, COVID. And, when you think about this metaverse, this opportunity to do virtual reality and not physically have to be with people, this is going to be a very interesting take. Do you think it takes off? When you think about VR, right? I feel like the last, what they got, Oculus is those really expensive glasses that they came out with. Facebook or Snapchat at one point, they had some glasses, but I don't even know if Snapchat even exists anymore like that. Do you think this is something that'll take off?
Oh, again, people don't create movies based on things that aren't possible. So again, you look at back in the day with, I think it was Terminator 2. Terminator 2, the whole plot of that movie was artificial intelligence took over. Mm-hmm. Well, here we go. Starting. Then when you start looking at, Ready Player One, being able to create and have the technology to create a whole universe and to do these things and clues be built in and everything. Come on, man, this is the next step. Heck yeah, it's gonna happen.
Are you gonna have Avatar?
It would have to make sense for me.
It would have to be something that you were interested in. What would make it make sense?
I don't know. I haven't seen, like, I have too many things to do to be stuck in a fake world.
But now they're gonna allow you.
But if the fake world means that I get to make more money, I'll find
there
a way
you
to have a
go.
dope
Yeah,
avatar.
yeah. They gonna tell you, hey, you get to have town halls and you get to have, classrooms that you can set up yourself and have people sign up and you be the teacher. This is going to be very interesting. I hope I'm not around when this comes out. I do not want no parts of this, because I definitely feel like this would just further change the landscape of the world. And if Facebook being one of the biggest companies out right now, if anybody could make it happen, it'd be Facebook. I think they also talked about how they were going to have a function to where you could work from home, but with the metaverse and the glasses, you could still be at a desk and interact with people, even though they're all at home as well. It's like, come on, bro.
Yeah, that's where we're going. Like, what are we talking about?
So one of the things we really haven't spoken too much about it since Joe Biden became president. And we, a couple jokes here and there about Kamala Harris and maybe some things going on with the vaccine, but we're now at a place economically where people are having a lot of conversation, whether it be what's going on with this housing market, what's going on with gas prices, what's going on with groceries. What else we got? Then they talk about the new proposed tax when you talk about unrealized capital gains. So that's, whether it's an investment property or, your investments in terms of stock portfolio, whatever gains that took place that year, you will be making, a tax payment on it. And obviously if it took a loss that year, you ain't gonna they're not gonna give you your money back, but that's neither here nor there. What are your thoughts on what you are seeing and hearing? I want to say $7 trillion they're trying to pass in a bill for this Build Back Better plan. What are your thoughts on what you're seeing and arguably experiencing? You're someone who buys groceries, you're getting gas. What are your thoughts on how that's affecting the everyday person? And is it affecting you?
What's the question?
About the economy.
You asked about three different things. Like, what's the real question?
So the question is how do you feel about the economy? How do you feel about gas prices? How do you feel about what's going on with this $1 trillion or the Build Back Better in which we are promoting? How do you feel about, what you're seeing economically about housing and things of that nature, your gas, your groceries? What are your thoughts on the unrealized capital gains that people are trying to promote? Are you feeling any of this economic strain that, a lot of people are talking about? Not only, at least people I'm talking about it with, everyday people, as I deal with a lot of people who purchasing homes for the first time.
So it's still, you ask like 40,000 different questions in there that are very specific to answer. So let me just try to go with the economy. So part of the reason why the Republicans were very uncomfortable about Joe Biden getting in was because they didn't believe that he was going to be fiscally responsible. And so when you looked at, in order for him to continue to keep giving out, PPE loans or whatever, and keep giving out money to folks, that's got to come from somewhere. And so when you continue to keep printing money, that causes the cost of inflation to go up. So when inflation goes up, then it means the cost of living goes up. So again, people aren't working because it's more advantageous for them to stay at home. Therefore, the housing prices go up, groceries go up, houses go up. Like, again, for me, who bought my house in the Trump era, it's a benefit to me right now, right? Because my property value is going through the roof. The problem is, if I sell this thing, I got to go someplace. And I might not actually, all the money I would have just made, now I'm probably going to put something with it to get something else, right? So the economy is in an interesting space because they just giving this money out right now. And so when you can do it at the click of a button and it's so easy and it's not backed by anything, it's gonna make it tough. That's why you see people wanting to get the minimum wage up to $15. And some places where people are not working fast food, they, like I saw again, I think I told you a couple weeks ago, like they're offering like $21 to go work at Burger King. It's just like,
right.
It's crazy right now.
You know what? I still don't understand how people aren't going, because I keep hearing that notion of people not, being incentivized to stay at home. And to my knowledge, that extra $300 that they were giving on unemployment stopped in September. So what is that, like maybe 2 months and some change, or a month and some change now? I don't understand how people aren't going back to work to pay their bills, like to pay their rent, to pay gas, to pay car insurance, and then pretty soon student loans is about to kick back in January. I just don't understand how people now, when this extra unemployment has been cut and no stimulus has been given in some months now, how are people still staying at home, not working?
Hey, it's beyond me. I'm working, so I don't know. I don't know how they figure that thing out.
So for you, when we talk about politics, I mean, what is your thoughts on this presidency and now going from with the exchange of hands and dealing with what we're dealing with financially in this country? How do you see that?
What do you mean? How do I see that?
Do you have an issue with it? Do you have an issue with where we're at right now as an economy, even though we understand that the buck always gets passed? So I want to be clear from, especially I want to say the 2000s after Bill Clinton, because I want to say that was our first actual positive year was under Bill Clinton, or our most recent, should I say, time. But after that, the buck keeps getting passed. The debt just keeps growing and growing and growing. But what you see right now with, how housing prices look, and I know my parents back in the day, they always tell me how back in the 90s, interest rates on homes used to be in the teens. And I'm like, man, I hope we never get back there. I mean, what's your thoughts on how do you feel about our current presidency? As one that was very vocal, we both had conversations about our past president.
I mean, I've always said I thought Biden would be a one-term president. I thought he would be a bridge to get out of the vitriol and divisiveness of our previous president. So, again, when you have some things that are so bad, the overcorrection, even though it's different, still isn't good. So you're going on extremes. That's why, in mental health, they talk about being bipolar. The two polars, the two in the bi are depression and mania. Either side of those polars are not good. And so in essence, we've created this polarism in our leadership when it comes to the White House, and it's just not good for the country.
Well, listen, people, this is Disrupted Thought. I'm Rashad Harvey. He's Aaron Thomason. We talk about it all.
Good people, we appreciate you as always for tuning in to another hot fire episode of Disrupted Thought. You heard the voices of Aaron Thomason and Rashad Harvey. Do us a favor, tell a neighbor, a friend, give us 3 people. Don't be selfish. Rate the pod. Subscribe to the pod. Make sure you tune in. And again, if our lives don't get in the way, and Rashad always out here just being a father, he can't walk and chew bubblegum at the same time, but we're gonna see what happens. If our lives don't get in the way, hey, we will be doing pre-production on Instagram Live at 8 p.m. Eastern. So come check us out. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, we out of here. Go.